Hi, it's the start of a new quarter, and that means it's time to really look at your life and say, what's working, what's not working. Do a deep dive. Every 90 days, we get to reinvent ourselves. We get to challenge ourselves, challenge the assumptions of what we should do, what we have to do. We want to look at our lives with fresh eyes and choose again. So as I did this, starting in the next quarter, I looked at it and said, well, what's not working? Or here's a question that maybe you haven't considered when you're doing your assessment. What am I avoiding? What am I resisting? I love resistance. When I've given my client a homework assignment and they didn't do it, and normally they're knocking it out of the park, and that is typical of my clients. They're high achievers, they're taking care of business, learning how to take care of themselves, and then they avoid something or they resist something. And I know I've hit gold. So that's what's been happening for me. I've been avoiding the work around social media. It's something that I've hired an exceptional social media strategist, and we've worked beautifully together. I've outsourced. So one of the times when I was doing my annual review, I was like, wow, if I could give something away, if I could delegate something, what would it be? It would be social media. So I hired a phenomenal person to do that. And still, I was resisting the very things that she was very small, reasonable things she was asking me to do. I was blowing off. I didn't want to do. And it took me a while to figure out what is that. And sometimes it's just procrastination, and we've got to know ourselves. Self-care is about self-awareness. So I'm not somebody who typically procrastinates. That's not, I've created systems and strategies like my planner and mindsets that make sure that I don't do that. But when I'm avoiding something and resisting something, there's gold there. So I dug a little deeper. And I heard myself say, oh my gosh, when I retire, which by the way will be never, I love what I do. I'm so deeply grateful and privileged to do this work. But I found myself saying, social media is going to be the first thing to go. I put all this together and was like, wait a minute, I want to opt out. So I'm opting out of social media. You won't be hearing from me through social media channels between now and the end of the year. And I'm giving you a little peek into how I approach change and how I guide my clients. When we're curious about something, or maybe stuck about something, or resisting something, or, just a good example would be alcohol. Like if we want to challenge the relationship we have with alcohol, we would say, okay, I'm going to abstain. And my clients might do it in a 2-week window. They might do it in a 100-day window or a 90-day window, that quarter window of abstaining completely. And then we get to choose again with fresh eyes, with not tainted, but with sober eyes. Well, I'm doing the same thing with social media. I'm checking out. And really, more importantly, it's not a rejection of social media. It's actually an attunement with me. It's an affirmation of the bigger work I want to tend to. Social media has been a distraction. It's a tool. It can be both, but it's a distraction. And the truth is, since really outsourcing a lot of the social media, just the strategy and all of that, the day-to-day maintenance of it. And I still found that I wasn't doing it. I still maybe 5 minutes a day on social media. It's not a thing for me, but it is a distraction. And the research actually supports a similar situation. If we're out with somebody having tea and our phone is on the table, we're distracted. We're not focused. Our energy is actually drawn. It's magnetically drawn with this level of vigilance. Like, I wonder what's happening, and I better check in, and I better do this. And I always was so concerned that if somebody thoughtfully left a message and I missed it, oh my gosh, and how to position this and how to showboat, but not showboat. Like, I wanted to share that and want to share the excitement in my work, but I didn't like all the posturing that came with it. And really, I found when I tasked my clients with going off social media for 2 weeks, that was part of the cleanse that we would do. We'd start adjusting and tweaking and evaluating habits so that they could choose again. 100% of the time, clients were happier. They were happier, even if they weren't big users or they were full-on addicted. They were happier when they opted out for those 2 weeks. They felt liberated. They got more creative. They started reading more, got more active. It was amazing what happened. And then we would recalibrate. To what degree do they have social media back in their lives? So Just like we're clearing out, we're moving. So you're going to see some empty shelves. We got to look and say, okay, what are we clearing out here? What am I willing to let go of to make room for something else? And for me, between now and the end of the year, it's social media. It doesn't mean you can't find me. Trust me, please go to my email and newsletter where I'm really going to create more curated content, really thought-provoking content. And one of the things that you're going to see is a series called "I Didn't Know You Could Do That." Because here's the thing. Most of us, I hear this all the time from my clients, like high achieving women, primarily high achieving, and they're taking care of so much. They are just empowered and intimidating to a lot of us, right? They've got it all together. And yet when I suggest they close the door to do a project, like, I didn't know I could do that. Or get off a board. I didn't know I could do that. People come up to me all the time. Oh my God, I could never do short hair. Well, you know what? Grab some scissors. Yes, you can. We put ourselves in this jail of thoughts and limitations. And it's like, you know what? I'm an entrepreneur. I think entrepreneurship is one of the greatest acts of self-care. The most radical act of self-care is building a business on your terms. Well, I had to see there was an inauthenticity that when I was ready, when I dreamt about and this is it, like have these little wishes, right? Boy, I'm going to get rid of social media. What's the first thing I'm going to get rid of when I close my business? Which again, will be never. I love this. It'll be my last breath, I'm sure. But the fact is, social media kept coming up. So it's like, okay, I've got to look at this. I've got to go all in. And 100% is way, way easier than 98%. I was already down to like 5 minutes a day. Like I said, it was never an issue. It was never really a rabbit hole for me, but it didn't nourish me. I didn't feel inspired and invigorated and more creative. I felt trapped even in those 5 minutes and overwhelmed with just too much information coming at me. So I want to create beautiful things like this series of I Didn't Know You Could Do That. So here I'm an entrepreneur getting off social media just as I'm about to launch a like really exciting, like the planner is still there. That was super exciting, but got to take the next step. And the next step is to create a digital coaching experience going from one to one to one to many. So I'm working right now on that content. Is that the time to drop out of social media? Yes, at least it is for me because it's authentic. I'm walking my talk. I am choosing the higher path for me. What's most nourishing for me is to opt out of that so I can tune in to the work, the creativity that's required to translate and distill 12 years of executive holistic coaching into this digital platform. So I have to remove, something has to go. When we make room for something else, when we're saying yes to something else, we've got to clear something else out. And this is what I've chosen to do. But the trick is, by saying the end of the year, I have a way out. I can reevaluate. So I've gone 100% all in, effective after this. I'm out July 1st, I'm out. So what does that mean? I'll check in again December 31st when I'm doing my annual planning. Hey, how's it going? Is it, am I missing it so much? Is it worthwhile me bringing it back in? Should I resurrect it? Maybe do it differently. These are all things we need to be curious about our own lives. And especially if you're an entrepreneur or you're in business, we've got to pave our own ways because otherwise we're building a business or building a career on somebody else's precepts, on somebody else's idea of what a successful business looks like. I'm taking a chance, but you know what? I'm not willing to lose myself in the process. I'd rather take a chance, take a risk, than risk losing myself, risk abandoning the authenticity that's so deeply important to me in the work that I do and in the person that I am. So this is not me saying, get off social media, it's evil, blah, blah, blah. It's not. I'm asking you to come with me and simply question your relationship that you have with social media. Is it serving you? And by serving, is it elevating you? Does it invite you to step into the highest version of yourself? And if the answer is I'm not sure, then abstain. Go for 2 weeks. Just see, do I like my life better? Did I do better work? Did I show up better for myself and my relationships? Be curious. Ask these questions of yourself. And then you're going to find that you're living more and more in alignment. And after the 2-week period, then go back in and go in differently. Or opt out. Here's the thing. We can have FOMO and JOMO. JOMO, I'm really excited about not having that distraction. I'm curious about the potential. Like what, how much, even 5 minutes a day, well, how am I going to spend that time? Let's take 5 minutes. Don't make me do math, right? 5 minutes every day, 7 days a week, times 4, that's per month how much time I've just liberated. What am I going to do with it? I want to be really intentional. I don't know yet. I haven't made a decision, but I do know I want to read more. I listen to books on tape, but actually read more. I've gotten away from that, so I want to get back, and that's probably what I'll do to devote that time again. And how delicious is that? So, FOMO. Well, so the JOMO is liberating that time and getting out of any comparisonitis. I don't fall prey to too much, but it's there. It's hard to create. It's hard to be full expression of yourself when you're distracted looking at other people's lives, those perfectly packaged lives for social media consumption. And in our case, like, we know the messy insides, we know the messy truth that's not being portrayed in a social media platform. So removing all of that, like, I'm going to create better. I know that. I know that. So it's a choice. Every yes is a no. So there's a lot of JOMO. Here's the FOMO part. I'm afraid, like, really afraid. Afraid I'm going to be forgotten. Afraid I'm going to become irrelevant and invisible. And I'm not going to know what's going on in people's lives. And they're going to have babies and all these things that I'm not going to know. Okay. All of those things could happen. Or I could just take a deep breath and parent myself through the fear, soothe myself through the fear. If you're a close friend, I'm going to be in your life. And I never relied on social media for that connection. That was actually an obstacle instead of an enhancement. So that isn't true. That fear is not true. Absolutely. And I tend to the relationships that deeply, deeply matter to me. And I will continue to do that, and maybe even more so. So that's not a real thing. Being insignificant, being invisible, that could be. It's not a good marketing strategy by every guru's standard, but it is the right one for me right now. So that means I'm going to put my full attention into my email marketing, so that if you're interested in my work, then come sign up for the newsletter, and you're going to hear on a weekly basis the self-care journey, the self-care revolution, evolution, the self-care strategies that you've come to know, that nourishing place where I disrupt your thoughts about self-care as being selfish, right? Jolt you out of the amnesia of self-neglect and martyrdom that we all fall prey to as women in the world, and as high achievers in general in the world. So you're not going to, you can still find me. It's not going to be as easy as finding me in social media, but really, it's okay. My tribe will find me. The people that need the message, they'll find me. So FOMO and JOMO, both happening. The fear, when it rises, and I've got it, I can feel it in my throat right now, I just take a deep breath, be like, hey, I'm going to parent myself through this. And I'm giving myself the option to come back again, to revisit again, and then make the choice again. So learn from this process. Study, like, what is it? How do we bring about these changes? What are you avoiding? What are you resisting? Is it just good old-fashioned procrastination and you need to suit up and get the job done? Or is there something more? Be curious about it, and be more curious about your own life than you are about everybody else's life, right? I mean, isn't that it? We're not devoting our attention and curiosity and interest to our own lives. We're outsourcing it. We're giving it away. We're putting our focus everywhere else but inward. And I have learned, after decades of living a very outward-centric, very people-pleasing, very good girl kind of life, I'm willing to be the bad girl, because I can't be the good girl and be good to me too. Can't coexist. So I'm going rogue. I'm breaking the rules. But God, it feels good. It feels really good. So what is your version of this? What does this look like? What are the parts of you where you need to be a little bit more naughty and test the boundaries and challenge the assumptions and be real, stand in your power and own your voice and share it with the people that want to hear it? Right? That are tuned in and curious and vulnerable and eager, and empowered and all those things. Who are your tribe? And how can you talk to them in a way? How can you be there for them in a way that supports you too? Right? In the name of business, we don't have to lose ourselves. In fact, the best businesses, the best career, the best work is built on self-respect. And I know for a fact that whenever I do what is right for me, I'm liberating everybody else who's been on the edge, maybe even before they knew. Whenever we do what it is that we need to do to be at our best, and it's not following the well-worn path, but it's actually going in an authentic path that reflects the best version of ourselves or our aspirational self, we are granting everybody else permission to do the same. So you didn't know you could do it? You can do it. Whatever that is, whatever story you have that you think you can't do, oh, you can do. Oh, honey, you can do it. Whatever it is. So I hope that this moment, I hope that this message is more than just a moment. It's a movement. And the movement is towards a more authentic version of yourself, a more rebellious, but internally directed, grounded version of you. So what do you have to challenge? And challenge it knowing that I have your back. I have your back. So reach out to me if you need me. Reach out to me if you want to, but most importantly, reach inward, go inward. What do you need? When's the last time you asked yourself that question? What do you need? And then commit to honoring the answer and allow as much time as it takes to hear the response, to repair the relationship you have with yourself. And in order to do that, in order to repair the relationship we have with ourselves, we have to remove all the other debris and all the other distractions and make our conversations with ourselves to move out of bully into coach, right? Out of shaming into celebration. The possibilities are endless. So what do you have to remove? What obstacles do you need to get out of the way? What distractions do you need to get out of the way so that you can be the fullest expression of yourself? I am so deeply grateful for the time that I've spent on social media up to this point. It has been a wonderful teacher. It has been a wonderful tool. And now I'm just choosing some new ones. Thank you. And really, I want to say peace out, but I also want to say peace in. Get the peace within. It's not going to come from the outside. It's going to come from within. So get curious, get quiet, and nourish yourself at the deepest level, at whatever that takes, whatever it is. I have your back. I'm here for you. And most importantly, have your own back. Be there for you and honor whatever it is that you need to be you, right? Do you. Peace out.